Yo, what is up, guys? Kid Underworld back at you with a brand new series. Didn't expect that, did you, motherfuckers? Uh, nah, I'm just joking. But anyway, yeah, I just want to say sorry for not uploading yesterday. I was, well, a bit busy preparing for this what if, getting the story figured out and whatnot. Um, because while I do not actually plan these what ifs, I do try and write like a general story sketch, so like at least the flow I can know what to do, and yeah, that's usually how my story writing goes. That's about the extent of it, but yeah, I'd just like to say thank you to everybody for the support, and I hope you like this new series. And let's get right into it. So, in this story, well, Deku, he's not gonna be called that. His birth name is Kurapika Kurta. As people wondering why his name would be changed so heavily, because his parents aren't ordinary individuals. Well, one is is the chain binding hero, well, Spellbinder, and also the son of Scarlet Eyes, well, Scarlet Eyes, the all round hero specialist. As Scarlet Eyes is Inko, and the chain hero is Hisashi. As Inko had the last name Kurta, as well as a blonde hair in this, as her family did come from a a Western slash European background. And for those wondering what these two quirks entail, his father was able to summon chains and materialize them out of nowhere, often along his bodies or from a short distance from his own body. Therefore, he went with the name Spellbinder. And the Scarlet Eyes was obviously fairly obvious for Inko, as when she activated her Scarlet Eyes, that were a renowned trait of her family. However, she was the strongest of them. The Scarlet Eyes gave a powerful boost to all the users who have it. However, Inko was the strongest, as she trained the most in these eyes, and was the culmination of generations of marriages, and often some of them had specialized into different abilities, being well, healing, and other sorts of different abilities. However, Inko had an all-rounder. She was able to have, she was able to bring out the potential of all of the specialized abilities within her family into one quirk. That being her Scarlet Eyes. When she activates it, she has the strength of 100 men. She's able to regenerate, broken bones in an instant. She's able to she's able to run fairly quickly, as well as able to create well create powerful shockwaves with just claps alone that have a seemingly weird effect. And this is what led to the famous number 2 hero, as Endeavor was pushed back to number 3 after Inko had arrived on the scene, as she was, one of the most powerful heroes, second to only All Might. And that wasn't by much, it was just All Might was on the scene a lot longer, therefore kept his ranking, as he was the symbol of peace. He ushered in a new era of peace. And Hisashi being the number 4 hero instead of Edgeshot, as if as they weren't arranged into a marriage, as Inko's power was at the height it could was at the pinnacle of what it could be. So she was given free reign of her family, as well as she didn't like to actually conform to their rules, as all it did was bring her hardship when she was young. She did not want that for herself nor her future. So she, well, she, while often remaining in contact, she would turn down all the marriage proposals and everything that was set out for her. As well, this often led to complications. But one day she met her future husband. Well, a rookie hero in training, after she'd been on the scene for about a year. And this rookie hero, well, known as, well, the Spellbinder, was was obviously a very green hero, as he didn't actually, well, he had a few mistakes, but his talent was awe-inspiring. And this led to, well, him catching the eye of Inca. And eventually, they were assigned into a mission where both their lives were at stake. They were fighting a massive group of villains as, well, they fought side by side, back to back, as they were defending and assisting each other, well, throughout an entire night of fighting. Almost no rest, as they practically collapsed into each other's arms. As that sparked a passion like no other. As after years of building up a reputation of the strongest hero couple, eventually Inko fell pregnant, and therefore had to give up and drop out of the limelight for what for who knows how long. Sasashi didn't want could also have dropped the hero title as well. However, he decided to work on for another 2 years to support their family and make sure they're getting enough money, even though that they were quite rich. As if you look at Shoto, obviously his family's quite rich, being the number 2 hero before becoming number 1. So it's not too far to say he was living quite well off. This, well, this led them to a bit of a life of comfort as they were a relatively normal, happy family. Well, Kurapika was born, and it seemed that he showed a lot of promise, being a very athletic but also cheerful young man. They were everything he would hoped to be, and more. So it came around, and not wanting their son to stand out or be treated differently, they sent him to a public preschool. As he did meet, well, he met a few people. Well, two of those being, or two people, one being one Tenya Ida, and another being Shoto Todoroki. As, well, they were, they got along. However, one was very distant, and the other was very strict. Both from a young age, they had wildly different personalities. As Ida was trying to measure up to his older brother and, well, prepared to fold into his family's traditions, as he was quite an uptight person with no semblance of how to relax. And Shoto was a rather cold person. He never showed too many emotions, as he never spoke. However, it seemed that, well, Kurapika was at ease around these people. As he didn't know why, it felt natural to be around. He he had two people he could call a friend. As unfortunately, some time had to pass and both of them end up moving. Shoto, after his accident, was forced to pull out of the preschool. Well, so he hadn't seen Todoroki after that. And Ida's family had to move after an agency had was opened up in a nearby city, so their family had to move away. As his only two friends had just left, which was quite sad. However, his life was normal, completely fine, as he had learned to admire the heroes and his family after learning that they are from a long line of prominent heroes throughout the world. Inko's family comes from, a bunch of heroes from America and Europe. As, he was shocked to learn that she was at once the number two hero in Japan. And Hisashi, after rising through the ranks, and after Inko's departure from the ranking system, was the number three hero. As this was quite, um, he was admiring heroes a lot more than he could ever dreamed, as he was always surrounded by, not only his parental heroes, but the literal ones he worshipped day and night. As then, his family decided, Inko's family had decided, um, to move to Japan, as they wanted to be with Inko, as they didn't want to cut off connections, but also had wanted to take, have a look at and take an interest in, her son, Kurapika, as the rest of some of the Kurta clan, as they were known by, they had moved to Japan. And this, well, while he did not have any friends from preschool, he had now learned to play with his cousin and his older family. As he had met one of his older cousins, Kaito. I don't actually know any Hunter x Hunter characters, so I'm just going to call him that. Kaito was a very nice boy. He had a very gentle personality, but loved to go outdoors and have fun with Kurapika. As when they were playing around, uh, Kurapika fell down and hurt his knee pretty badly. As he started crying, Kaito wanted to go help him and heal him. As Kaito's power, or quirk, was the ability to heal at an extended rate. Quite quite powerful one at that. It was as fast as recovery girl, if not faster. So this was a quite a powerful quirk to be achieved by normal standards. As when he was tending to Kurapika's wounded knee, he noticed something while looking at him. As when Kurapika looked directly at him, his eyes were glowing, a bright scarlet, as they matched his very own. As the one unique trait among Inko's family is the Kurta clan. Whenever they use their quirks, their eyes glow red, or into a beautiful scarlet, I might add. Inko when she's activating her powers, and Kaito. There's also his other cousins and uncles and aunties. As Inko's brother and sister had had a very similar power to what she had, except hers was a lot more prominent. They they weren't as close to her, but they were close enough. As Inko was already obviously over-adored, like she was adored by her whole family. The same to with Shotaro compared to the rest of them. Endeavor only focused on him, not anybody else. Same with Inko. However, she didn't care about that. She loved her brothers and sisters. Whether or not they might return the feeling or not, she didn't care. As they all lived relatively nearby, and decided, hey, why don't we move to a nearby area, all together in a big mansion? As they had enough money to do it, of course, as they were both living on a very wealthy wage. as well as the family being quite rich, obviously. So, they did. And after having his quirk examined after that trip with Kaito, they figured out that he had both his mother's and his father's power. However, he was too early into its awakening stage for them to be able to tell how powerful it is. As Kaito did say that when his eyes started glowing the scarlet red, that is resembling our family's quirk, it the wound started healing on its own. However, I just gave it a bit of a fix-up as well, as there's only so much a recently awakened quirk can do. As similar events would start happening as, well, a dog was barking at Kurapika as he was getting quite scared, but however, he still walked along until that dog managed to snap the lead that it was tied down to and started chasing after him. As his uncle was was about to step in as he did see the dog chasing him as Kurapika was walking towards his house. Right as he was about to intervene, chains started materializing and had the dog bound up, as it was unable to move and it was whimpering. As Kurapika was on his hand, basically on his back and just terrified, crying, as his eyes were glowing red again. As they finally came to a verdict that they should call their family doctor, and their family does have a private quirk doctor, because obviously, well, they're not going to go to a general doctor for this. So they did. They called him in, as it says. Who's a so let's see who's in the family needs my help today. Ah, Inko, it's been many years. Is it you I have to treat? As she just says, no, it's not me that you have to treat this time, Doc. It's my son. As she said, don't be shy. As Kurapika walked out from behind her, says, ah, so this must be little Tyke. I heard your quirk's just awakened, young man. That definitely means from what I've heard, you're definitely going to be able to become a hero. As Izuku, not Izuku, sorry, Kurapika, just say, really? I can become a hero? As everybody that was in the room just smiled, and they each encouraged him that he could become a hero. As while he was adored for being the son of the strongest member of the family, he was just loved because of his personality and how bright he was. As after getting his work evaluated, the doctor said it's unusual. As they asked why, and says, well, there is some power. It seems to take both your quirks, but have a weird mutation. Says, what does that entail? Says, well, he has some increased strength and dexterity as well as healing. He doesn't nearly have the same rate as Inko or Kaito in the family. However, it doesn't mean that it doesn't have room to grow, like all quirks do. However, it seems to be at a limit. It's just an accelerated. It's just accelerated healing. Um, just a bit more than body's usual. But the weird part is the chains, as Sasashi would say. And what's with his chains? Says these ones are a lot more durable. Oh, I see. But that's not all. They seem to also have a unique property which I still can't figure out. But they're able to absorb energy. Or they are able to absorb things. What do you mean? Could you please show us? As he says, "Alright, Izuku, could you fire a chain right at that battery there?" As he put a battery on the table as, well, sorry, Kurapika would point his finger at it as he would fire a chain directly through it, piercing it. As they could see electricity running up the chain, however, it wouldn't affect Kurapika at all, as they understand. As, well, he would say, "I don't know what to call this quirk. It's unusual. We'll leave it for now, but uh, one of the family members jokingly said, um, well, he was known to be playing a lot of video games, decided to come up with the name Packed to the Binding Chain. As, well, the family didn't, well, laughed off a bit, however, Kurapika said he liked it, as it sounded cool. As, well, nobody else had that quirk, nobody else seemed to object after he said that he liked the name. So, that was what that's what his classification would be called. And he went to middle school one day, and as he returned, well, as he was returning on his way, he, he was, well, looking on his phone and saw a news article as he opened it up, as he kept reading it. Uh, the, the Phantom Troop. Who's that? As the news article read, "The Phantom Troop strikes again. Who are they?" As he kept reading through, as there seemed to be no information on who the individuals were. However, it seems to be that they were a paid dangerous bounty hunter type organization. As he kept reading, they were that they often used for assassination missions, stealing, and many more from the descriptions that matched their motifs. As he kept reading through, and they only find one picture. That one was a picture with somebody with a spider tattoo on their arm, with a number on it. As it seems that they were known locally as the Spiders. As, well, Kurapika was just saying, these guys sound way too weird. As he puts his phone away and tries calling his parents, as he needed to ask him something about, where he was going to go to school. As it was about the second year of middle school, and he was, well, he did not have to think about a school just yet. He wanted to ask his father about going through the UA as well as his mother, as they would know him most about it. However, when he called, there was no answer. So he called again, but this time to his mother. Seeing as they're both busy, he decided to call Kaito. No answer. He decided to try and ring another one of his cousins, but no answer. As it seemed a bit too weird that as he kept ringing through, nobody had, well, nobody had picked up. No one in the family. As when, well, when he had seen that nobody was picking up, he started running home, as there could have been something that happened. As his mind started thinking at a million miles a second, trying to think of what could possibly happened. Is there a cell tower out? He said no. The connection's still up. I'm getting bars and a signal. Then what could possibly be? Then he started remembering the article he read. As it's like, it can't be. No, it's just a coincidence. It they just must be they there must be something wrong. It just must be, I don't know. Nobody's answering because they're too busy. As he's running home, well, all of their he's running home as he sees somebody in front of his house as he dodged out the way as the man was covered in blood, his hands dripping, as another person walks up to him, being somehow they're covered due to what they're wearing. But there's one thing that he did see, one thing he saw, that caused him to develop a severe hatred. He saw a spider tattoo on their arm, as, well, he, once they left, he ran inside the house to see everyone. As he saw everybody, he started running through each of the rooms, as he saw Kaito dead, arms crushed, throat, his throat was crushed. As when he looked at him, looked over him, his eyes were gone. As he started crying and wailing out loud, pain, clearly, it was in so much pain. As he was trying to find at least anyone that survived. As he came across his cousins, and he saw their eyes were gone as well. His aunt, his uncle, eyes were gone, and his mother, his beautiful mother, was pinned to a wall, spread spread apart like an angel. However, the wings were formed from blood smears of her being thrown across the room. As blood was running through her eyes, as they too were stolen. And to Sashi, a hole punched directly through his gut. As everybody was slaughtered. It was crying out in pain so loudly that the others, the neighbors, who didn't even hear the commotion before, nor notify anybody, had, come to see what was wrong as he saw just Deku, his bright scarlet eyes, glimmering in the darkness, surrounded by a bunch of dead bodies. Well, as they called the police as they arrived, took him to the station, and questioned him. As they say, "What is your name?" "Kurapika Kurta." "How old are you?" "I'm 14 years old." "Why were you in that house?" "That was my home. Those were my parents, my family." "How did you find them?" "I was walking home, and I tried calling them. None of them picked up, so I rushed home, and I saw a man leaving from my house. Someone I didn't recognize. Some, the same bastard who probably killed my parents, my entire family." As I say, whoa, kid, calm down. As the inspector who was questioning him, had a hand on his shoulder, as this man said, the man who put his hand on the inspector's shoulder just said, "Look, let him get it out. His entire family was just killed. But how can we be sure?" And it's like, it says, "Detective, look at those eyes." As His eyes that were filled with rage shined a deep crimson red. As there was only there was only a few individuals with those bright eyes. As I said, he's not lying. Oh god, I hate Discord. He was not lying. Let him grieve. As his anger eventually turned into tears, as it was a continuing sob. As from the local news has been identified as the former number 3 hero and number 2 hero were found dead and slaughtered, as well as the rest of the family. Only one survivor remained. As they didn't disclose his name, as they didn't want to bring any suspicions, or they didn't want to actively say that hey, you'd left one alive. As it seems the same motive was on all the bodies. Brutally killed, but the eyes were stolen. It seems that they were making a statement after they found the display of Inko's defiled corpse. Everybody was left shocked, and a rumor started appearing about the boy with scarlet eyes. As the neighbor that saw them began to fear them. Saw them like a demon's eyes. As and then after after a bunch of paperwork's been processed, there was no living family in Japan, and the ones that were left over back in Europe and America were too old and had their own priorities as well. So they couldn't take care of him. As they pondered putting him into an adoption system and trying to circulate him through there. However, nobody would do it. As he said, Kurapika would say, I don't need it. As he says, we're just trying to help you. And it's like, I don't need it! It says, calm down. You can't tell me to be calm. I witnessed my entire family slaughtered. They were dead around me. And I could do nothing. They were just defiled. As just let me grieve by myself. I just want to be left alone. As they just let him. At Deku's own behest. Kurapika's own behest. He was not put into an adoption system, however, he was given all the inheritance as well as he was given the inheritance. So he had all the money that was given as well as the insurance and the house. However, he decided to leave the house. He moved somewhere else, finding a place near Tokyo. As I would say that his family lives in Sendai. So he had moved closer to Tokyo. So he had put the house was open for him as there was no mortgage that he'd be paid, so all the maintenance, as he was just being left there. It was being kept managed by the hero. The hero, basically all the hero stuff, as they were keeping it open at this request of Kurapika. And so he lived on his own from that day forward. He fought for himself, studied by himself, ate by himself, lived alone. as he started growing a very lonely nature. He was very cut off. Uh, nobody recognized him solely as they didn't release his image on TV. However, after one incident of after somebody made a bit of a wisecrack, as well saying, "Ah, oh look, he's not fighting back. Look, he's getting. Why is he not putting up a fight? Are you gonna run away back to mommy later?" As that sent Kurapika into a rage, as he beat the boys to a pulp, binding them down as he kept slamming away at their face, their body, breaking many bones, and leaving them into a bloody pulp. As the one thing that noticeably stuck out besides the chains was the scarlet red eyes, as everybody feared them, as a lot of them bring up the rumor that they heard about the demon boy with red eyes. Everybody in middle school grew to fear him. None of the, not even the teachers wanted to be around him, as everybody left him alone. He grew even lonelier, quieter. So, it came to the last year of middle school, as people in the class were riled up as the teacher said, "Alright, class, well, I have a bunch of career application forms for you to all fill out. So if you'll please listen to my instructions." As everybody, was bored as Kurapika was just looking out of a window, not really paying attention. As the teacher just threw the papers around and said, "Ah, don't it. I all know you want to become heroes anyway." As everybody started getting excited as they started letting off their quirks, however, Kurapika was growing very annoyed by this, and his eyes turned red. As he knew that people whenever they saw his eyes would immediately calm down. To stop himself from getting more annoyed and enraged, as well as causing anything to happen. Without people just thinking that he was just trying to intimidate everybody, when he really wasn't. He flashed his red eyes as everybody immediately sat back down and calmed right down, as they were all afraid of him. Even the bullies, they would have nightmares of that day. One even had to go to counseling, because he was beaten that badly that it mentally broke him. As they were never he was never charged or anything because clearly they were at fault. As Kurapika would just sit there looking silently and staring silently at that page, as he just filled out, well, one thing: UA High School. As well, the teacher would just say, "UA, huh?" As a bunch of the students would just start whispering, "He wants to go to UA? Is he insane?" As another would start whispering, "He can't become a hero. I mean, he's the demon with red eyes." As another was just saying, "There's no way he can become a hero after all those bodies were found." As he just said quietly enough, as they kept continuing, as he just said, "Enough!" As everybody just grew silent. Nobody dared utter a word. It says, "I don't remember asking any of your opinions or what I am, or what I can or cannot do. If I want to become a hero, it's my choice, and I'm never asking you for your opinions." As well, he just flashed a red gaze towards them, and everybody was quiet. Then the end of the day would come around, and he was just walking home, he decided to take a different route as he didn't want to, well, pass by anybody from the school after today. He ended up taking a back route, which led him under an underpass. As he was walking past it, something was emerging from the sewers as it started growing bigger and bigger, as it started forming into a monstrous form behind him. As he said, "Ugh, what is it now?" Turn around and see the sludge villain. And the sludge villain's like, "Hey, kid. Sorry, but I'm gonna have to take your body now. Sorry, no hard feelings, but, gotta kill you and all. I, I mean, I'll treat your body nicely." As after hearing that, his eyes turn the full, bright, and deep, blood-ridden crimson. As, well, it even sent a shiver into the sludge villain's, nerves. As it's like, that, you wouldn't scare me with just that. He tried to swing at, Kurapika, as a bunch of chains started wrapping around the villain's body, as he started laughing, saying, "Chains? You think chains are gonna stop me? My body is immune to it." As when he tried moving around, his body was restricted. He said, "What the? It's just bloody chains. How could they stop me from moving?" As he says, you're overconfident in your abilities. "What was that little shit?" He says, as he starts tightening his fist, crushing the chains in. As he says, "This restricts your form and your movements. The tighter I make these chains, the more pain you feel." As he starts doing it slowly, closing his grip as the villain starts screaming. As somebody around the corner jumped in time and says, "Young man, I am here now, so please remove him from your grasp." As he didn't. Fine. As he opened his fist up and the chain disappeared as the sludge villain collapsed onto the floor. As he started walking away, as he said, "Wait, I must thank you," and says, "No need." "But I must," says, "I said no need." As the man known as All Might, who he knew very well, that he did not care. He, well, he just saw he heard the absolute disdain in his voice as well as the pain from it. So he did not follow up any further. As, well, he just thought, Inko, Hisashi, to think that he is in so much pain. I'm worried. And this is where I'm going to leave off part 1 to what if Deku was Kurapika. Well, Kurapika. This is going to be like a prologue story, so yeah. I hope you guys did all like this video. But one thing I gotta say is credit does not go to me for this beautiful thumbnail. I forgot to say in the beginning. And yeah, this goes to, well, shout out to Let Us What Ifs. I'll put a link to his channel, and you can also find him on the Discord under a little head of lettuce. That's what it is. But yeah, he drew me up this excellent thumbnail, of course. So go show him a lot of love, and yeah. So I just would like to say, I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoy this brand new series, and yeah, I've been the King of Underworld. I hope you all have a very good day. Peace.